You know what, I can't actually, I tell you what, I need to go stretch my legs. Right, let's go for a walk. Come on. 75ml limited edition, freaking 320 quid for a fucking creek. This is stupid. It makes no fucking sense. Just freaking 20 quid. Who has that? What world are they on? Who do they think they are? They're trading it. It's the whole crux of it, isn't it? I'll throw you an olive branch straight off the bat, right? This is the best Creed fragrance release in over a decade, actually. In fact, when was Royal Oud released? That's the question. Better be recording all this. Yeah, Royal Oud. This is the best Creed fragrance since Royal Oud. Aventus Cologne was fine. Viking, I thought it was fine. People really liked that. Viking Cologne, that was the first time that I actually really felt insulted by a fragrance company. Pay $500 for a watered down version of our other fragrance. Okay, now that is when I felt as though they were taking the piss a little bit. But this was good. I smelt it in John Lewis and I thought, okay, I get that. This is actually really good. This is very decent. And actually everybody's saying, you know what, this is quite good. But it does feel, doesn't it, as though they've gone, actually guys, we've put effort into this one. This is actually quite good. So that'll be nearly $600, please, because you know we actually tried this time round. We actually put some thought into this one. Piss takers. I'm sorry, but for £320 for this, for a limited 75ml, as if I'm Oliver from oh, what is that frickin' play? You know the scene. Please, sir, can I have some more? More? 125ml? No, you only get 75ml. I'm sorry, but for $570 for a 75ml, I would want Irwin Creed to personally give me a hand job as I was giving the money over the counter. Now, that might be a little bit tasteless and a little bit crude, but I think it emphasises the point. 320 quid. 320 quid. For what? What are you getting? And so with that, I forbid you to buy Aventus Absolu, or Absolu Aventus, even though that feels grammatically incorrect. I think it should be Aventus Absolu. I forbid you to buy it. 99%. There is one specific thing where I don't forbid you to buy it, and actually, fair enough, you can buy it. But it goes like this. And some people have already commented and alluded to this. If you treat the bottle and the box as if it's a stock, a share, or a bond, or an asset, as in you're investing in an asset, because it's true, you buy the 570, or I'm just going to keep with for my UK bros, 320. We already know how much of an insult that is, but I'm just going to be sticking to dollars because it's just going to wrap my head around it. Like $570. You spend the $570. You get the Aventus Absolu. You put it in the wardrobe, you put it in the closet, you put it away, you forget about it, that's it. You haven't bought a fragrance, you've bought an asset, as if you're buying property or, I don't know, a really, really, like a big asset, like a boat or a car or something like that, an expensive car. So that's what you do. Put it away, and fair enough. $500, you keep that puppy in the freaking wardrobe, and after a while, it will probably turn into $1,000. In fact, that is the weird Creed delusion that I've already seen that with Aventus 10-year. There's Aventus 10-year that was only released 3 years ago, going on eBay now for over $1,000. And it's just a different paint job. The fragrance wasn't any different, it was just Aventus. But, oh, well, hey guys, do you know it was 10 years since Aventus came out? Well, it's the 10th anniversary. This company is a freaking menace at this point. And where is it going to go? Where is it going to go? When are you going to stop standing for this? Because if I'd said to anybody 8 or 9 years ago, would you pay $570 for a Aventus flanker, first of all, the idea of an Aventus flanker would be like unheard of. That, like, when they released Aventus for women and then Aventus cologne, like, the whole industry was in shock because, like, flankers were beneath Creed. They're Creed. They're the high status, you know, the exalted ones of the fragrance industry. They don't do flankers, they don't do sales, they don't even really promote themselves because they're too good for that. But fuck me, wow. Then they come out with Aventus cologne, which was fine, but to be completely honest, I was still in shock that they'd even done such a move. So if I'd said to you 8 years ago, in fact, let's go even further, 10 years ago, I remember a time when I was working at Creed when Aventus was £195 for 120 millilitres. I remember the day it shot up to 215, and that was shock horror. I don't even know what the price of Aventus is anymore. I don't even want to know. I remember Millésime Impérial was about 165, and I thought that was high back in the day. You can't even get Millésime Impérial on eBay for £165 anymore. And here's the kicker, that Millésime Impérial was better. And that's the trademark now. That's the trademark of Creed. Higher prices, lower freaking quality. You already know my feelings about Armor. Hey, I tell you what I would have paid $570 to see. I would have paid that amount of money to see the faces of all the heads of the clone companies smelling Aventus Absolu. Could you imagine the head of Armaf smelling Aventus Absolu? If I was him, I would have literally laughed, shit myself, fallen on the ground and died, because I would have thought to myself, they're actually doing this? They're actually giving us clone companies free money? Because that's what this is to clone companies. Free money. How much of an open goal is this for the clone companies? This will be cloned in 3 months. It'll probably be better quality. And it'll be $60 or whatever. But hell, even the clones are having a fucking field day. You seen that Aventus clone that's $100? $100 for a clone. And everybody's going, oh, that's a bit shocking. Yes, but if you compare it to the actual Creed Aventus, it's a fucking bargain. How did it come to this? How many mistakes are they going to have to make? And this crazy apologist nature. I've seen people saying like, oh, you know, this is worth the price. Is it? Fuck. Come on. Is it? Like, people are saying things like, oh, well, you know, it's more of a worthwhile investment. Like I said at the beginning of this video, like, and you know, I'd rather buy this, you know, because it's a Creed and everything like that, than a $50, you know, trash fragrance. This is more of a worthwhile investment, and maybe I could resell it, or I could decant it and stuff and make the money back and everything like that. If I have to employ a fucking accountant to make sure that my fragrance purchases are valid and I'll be in the black, then it's not fucking fun anymore, is it? At that point, like, what are we getting out of this? Because then it isn't a fragrance, it is an asset. It is like some mad, warped, it's nothing important. It's got nothing to do with fragrances anymore. It's some weird cock-swinging contest that Creed have entered into, saying we can jack up the prices even more than frickin' Roja, than Amouage, because we're the kings of the frickin' fragrance world. If I have to put in my frickin' tax return and have to think about a fragrance investment that I put into, then it's not fucking worth it anymore. That's what it's... And don't get me wrong, if Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos said, George, should I buy this Aventus Absolu? I'd say no, because there's going to be a clone of it, and not just that, but there are better fragrances. There are fragrances that are actually worth that money, and there are fragrances that smell like Aventus Absolu that are far less money. And here's the aggravating thing that I hear all the time. The irritating thing that I hear all the time. Well, George, fragrance prices are subjective. They gave that freaking get out of jail free card to Jeremy when he did Fragrance 1, and he charged out the arse. Well, it's subjective, George. Fragrances are subjective. You can price fragrances at a subjective rate. No, you can't. It's a market. It's an economy. It's a fragrance market. It's a fragrance... Everything is communicating with each other. If Fragrance 1 Office was the only fragrance ever released in a vacuum, maybe he could charge what he wanted, but actually, maybe not. If Aventus Absolu was the only fragrance that ever came out, it was a unique, brand new thing, you had nothing to compare it to for the past 50, 60, 70 years of market space with fragrances, then maybe. But even then, I'm going to tell you something, I'm going to admit something to you right now. The fragrance consultations that I've been doing, I think it's really unique in the space. I don't actually know anybody else who's doing it. So, when I first did it, $50. I charged $50. It was like freaking Black Friday sale. I was very, very happy. I was so grateful to all of you who bought the $50 fragrance consultations. It was absolutely amazing. I was booked up quite considerably for a couple of months. It was great. And then people started saying to me, you know, you're not charging enough. $50 is a steal. George, you're worth more than that. You're the fragrance apprentice. Buttering me up. It was lovely. And so, what did I do? I listened to them. Because it was a very nice thing to say. Somebody said, you should be charging $200 for your fragrance consultations. Even I knew that was bollocks. But what I did, I'd raised my prices. $85. Went up to $85. You saw that? Nobody was interested. In fact, I can count on one hand the amount of people that came. 3 people bought those fragrance consultations for $85. The market punished me. Or, not even that. I don't mean to be a victim. The market communicated with me. It said, George, we like you, but we don't like you that much. You're overcharging. So what did I do? I respected the communication of the market. That's how a market works. That's how an economy works. Money doesn't work without the economy. Money doesn't work without a market. You can have $5 million, you can have $50 million on your debit card right now, but if you're stranded on a freaking desert island, it's meaningless. One doesn't work without the other. It's the communication of money with the marketplace, with products, with businesses. That's how it works. And so now I've done a sale. Because I took the L, because short-term L is fine if you're aiming for long-term Ws. I did it. And so now got a sale, it's a bit gimmicky. You can now get my fragrance consultations for $57. And hopefully, maybe over time, my market value will increase to the point where I can charge something like 60 or 65, and that'll be a happy medium. Because it's discovering your own market, it's looking at the customers, what they're willing to pay for, what they're willing to communicate with, and what you communicate with back. So what do you reckon $570 for a 75 milliliter is communicating to you? It's communicating that. And don't think otherwise. Don't be so fucking naive that it's communicating anything other than contempt for you. Morning. It's a nice day, isn't it?
Fantastic day.
Yeah.
Do we even need to sneak around? Or
Oh no, it's fine. Okay, thank you. Have a lovely day.
Thank you too, thank you.
This is what I'd rather you do. $575. This is what I'd rather you do. At that price, if you're hoping to attract women, this is what I'd rather you do. Buy a really decent Airbnb. Buy yourself a nice bottle of whiskey. You can email me, or you can, whatever. I'll give you a nice whiskey recommendation. And then just buy an escort or a lady of the night for one night. Get some candles. Get some stuff. $570 can buy you a lot. And just have the best night of your life. Invest in yourself instead of trying to invest in something that's going to make people compliment you. I'd rather you just do that. And then you'll have 20 or 30 pounds or dollars left. And then here's what you do. You just sign up to my Patreon, go onto this Discord and tell us all about your lovely night. Not in too much graphic detail, but just tell us. And the $30 will be a thank you to me. It's a $10 for a month, but you know what I mean? You stay for 3 months. You have a great time. The fragrance is nice. The fragrance is good. This is the thing. The fragrance is actually quite good. I agree with you. I completely agree with you. But I want to finish. But is it really, like, what are you getting? What is the worthwhile thing that you're getting of this? Is this even a luxurious purchase anymore? There's a great television series in the UK, one of my favourite TV series, Four in a Bed. Really, really interesting show. If you're an Anglophile, if you're a fan of the United Kingdom, if you're a fan of Britain, you should totally watch this show. It's really, really fun. But it's like 4 bed and breakfast hosts, and it's a competition. But what they have to do is one host or 3 hosts will go to one host, and they'll sort of, the 3 hosts will go to one host, and in each week, the Airbnbers or the B&Bers, hotel people will go and they'll check out the different hotels and stuff like that. And how they win isn't by scoring points or anything like that. It's about the money that they get paid. And they are fastidious in checking these hotels out. You'll see like the room checks that they do. They're like, it's over the top. Like they're going over the wardrobes and checking for dust and everything like that. They're making sure 100% consciously that this hotel is worth the money that it says that it is. And so you get really interesting situations where you'll have like a budget hotel that's actually over-delivering, so they charge like £75, but they're over-delivering. They're giving so much to you, they're giving so much value, and so at the end they usually win because the other hotel people will overpay like £100 rather than £75. But if you have a hotel or a B&B or something like that where they're like overcharging, as in you have a hotel saying, well, we've got this and we've got that and we charge 250 quid a night or 300 quid a night, and the hotel people go and check and there's dust everywhere and it's grimy and the toilet's kind of disgusting and the amenities aren't really there and the breakfast was a bit shit, they'll underpay. Because that whole show demonstrates beautifully how a market works, how a product works, and what values are in products. And let's go back to some basics, right? You don't need fragrance. All of fragrance is luxury, but there's elements to luxury, right? You've got the really cheap clone, B&M bargain, Zara, Next kind of echelon. And then you've got some like lower tiered designers like Trussardi, I guess, and Valentino arguably, and then you've got like the mainstream Jean-Paul Gaultier, Paco Rabanne, and then you've got the higher designers, the designers that are really looked on in favour, like, you know, Chanel and Dior and Tom Ford, and then you have the niche, and then you have the sort of the ultra niche. But for the ultra niche, and this is what I think we've all forgotten, for the ultra niche, if you're going to charge a huge amount of money, you are going to have to deliver on everything. You're going to have to deliver on packaging. You're going to have to deliver on scent profile. You're going to have to deliver on originality. You're going to have to deliver on at least projection longevity. That's what Parfums de Marly usually do. They just make it so that the projection longevity is so high and so big that you cannot argue with the price point. That's how Parfums de Marly literally forced himself into the niche game. They went, all of our fragrances are just like beast mode, and that's the end of that. Roja Dove, amazing, immaculate presentation. Some of the best presentation you could ever see. And their fragrances are like top dollar. This is luxury. This is what you do if you get into the luxury market of anything. You've got to over-deliver. And what have Creed delivered to us this time? A Dior Sauvage Aventus hybrid? With a bottle that's only 75 millilitres and it is just like the Green Irish Tweed bottle, and then they just slap the iconography of the Aventus on. That'll do. That's what the bottle looks like. That'll do. Be all right. They'll figure it out. They'll buy it. It's Creed. That'll do. The fragrance, it's good, but there's still an element of, that'll do. It's a nice fragrance. It's fine. It's pleasant, but it is just so infuriating. It is so insulting. What does it say to the other niche brands? They'll buy fucking anything. That's what they're saying. They'll buy anything. We just did another Aventus Flanker, and again, I'll go back to this. If 10 years ago I said to you, there's an Aventus Flanker that's $370, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, you would have just looked at me and said, there's no fucking way. And they've slowly but surely poisoned their own freaking market. Up the price, 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 up the price. Just slowly, just irritating, but so that people go, oh, that's a bit irritating, but they've done it and they've done it, and now they've literally looked at you in the face and said $570 freaking for 75 milliliter. And I'm going to ask you right now, where's this going to stop? Where's this going to end? How many times are you going to be shafted until you realise you're being fucking shafted? What is it going to have to be? $800 for the next fragrance? $1,000? $1,500? And you're going to say to me, oh yeah, well, you know, if they released a fragrance that was $800, I wouldn't buy that. But that's what somebody would have said 8 years ago about this fragrance. But they do it slowly. And just, I don't know how they do it, but they hypnotise you into thinking that it's because the quality's really high. Like bollocks, the quality's high. And it's because we're Creed, and it's just, it's lies. And I know that I'm being, I know that I'm the funny guy sometimes, and I can be amusing, and sometimes these kind of like little satirical mental breakdowns that I have are funny and everything like that. But I am going to say to you with the straightest of face, this is turning into a fucking scam. The fragrance is fine. It's an Aventus E darkened version. In fact, that was even a piss take in itself. They were sort of marketing it as, oh, well, you know, this is This is the best version of Aventus. This is like the older Aventuses. This is the strongest Aventus ever. Right, so you created the problem, and now you're giving us the solution for an overinflated price. Piss takers. I forbid you to buy not just into this, but into the entire freaking delusion that is being perpetuated with this. Let's all take a breath and just see what is happening here. $570 for a very pleasant Aventus flanker that's got a few Sauvage, Dior Sauvage Elixir qualities. It's nice, it's pleasant, but it's probably more likely worth, and I'll tell you honestly, probably more likely worth about £185. So $250. $230? No, $230. Yeah, actually, no, that's fair. $230. That's actually being quite fair and quite liberal. $240. Imagine if they'd done that. Imagine if they'd done that. Imagine if Creed had said, forget about the past. Here it is, $240. They would have been redeemed. That's what this is worth. But not. When is this going to end? Not just with Creed, but with all this. When are the fragrance companies going to stop feeding you bullshit? Oh, that's right. It's when we all stop eating it.